y'all, this is Taylor Ursula of That's So Pisces, and it's time to break down our Aries third quarter moon. This is a third quarter moon at 7 degrees of Aries, taking place at about 3 p.m. on Friday, June 28th, here on the West Coast. Now, this third quarter moon is taking place the day before Saturn stations retrograde in Pisces at 19 degrees, and we are likely feeling that slowdown already. In fact, the moon moving through Pisces makes a conjunction to Saturn just before it enters Aries for this third quarter moon, and is the final conversation that Saturn has before stationing retrograde. So, where third quarter moons are already about release, already about letting go and kind of breaking things down into pieces in order to process and move forward, this moon in particular will have an even heavier flavor of that. We are feeling some sense of heaviness in the sense that our external goals and milestones are not necessarily being met in the way or with the speed that we had been to this point. We might be needing to turn inward a bit and get a sense of where our kind of priorities are currently aligned with our responsibilities. So on Friday, we see the moon move into Aries and promptly make a sextile to Pluto, who is retrograde in Aquarius at 1 degree now. So there is some sort of stripping away, even more of this theme of the third quarter moon of release, and that Pluto's helping us strip anything away right now that is false, that is preventing us from being authentic, that is standing in the way of us initiating what is needed now. On the same day, Mercury in Cancer makes a square to Chiron in Aries at 23 degrees. And so we might think of this as really an exploration of some of our attachment needs and attachment styles that may not be secure in this time. If we think about the Aries Cancer axis, and especially Mercury, which is the mind and our memory, and Mercury in Cancer has a very tight memory, particularly around when its needs are not met. And so if we think about the Aries Cancer square, there's something about needing to have trust in our connection to home in Cancer that allows us the bravery and the courage to initiate leaving home in Aries in order to have a home to come back to. That leaving in Aries, that departure, that adventure is autonomous and is authentic when it knows that there's something secure that it's able to return to. And so this square to Chiron might trigger for us memories of this phenomenon occurring in our life, whether it's bringing up something from the past that is reminding us of some situation here in the present moment. We might get a sense of curiosity around what's preventing me from feeling safe in asking for help, what's preventing me from experiencing a sense of trust with what I'm tethered to and my ability to experience things outside of it. The moon squares the sun at 7 degrees, promptly moves into a sextile to Jupiter in Gemini at 11 degrees, then immediately moves into the North Node in Aries, also at 11 degrees. So there might be, with that sense of pressure of what we're releasing, there may also be some sense of faith or an abundance of new ideas that come in as we kind of embrace what these needs and their failure to be met are bringing up for us at this time. There may be an invitation to understand where we are able to initiate some care for ourselves that has not been met in the past. On Saturday, we see the moon come through and make a square to Venus before a conjunction to Chiron at 23 degrees. And so there's something that comes full circle here. The moon and Venus may be showing us where we have some kind of nostalgia around what it is to have needs met. Maybe we're able to connect these new initiatory ideas or impulses with the people around us. Perhaps getting a new sense of what it is to initiate care around the needs that we especially as the moon makes a conjunction to Chiron. There's some sense of resolution here, some sort of reconciliation, bringing things full circle. Even more so because on this day as well, Mercury in Cancer makes a sextile to Uranus in Taurus at 25 degrees. So whatever wounds were cracked open the day before with Mercury and Chiron, this moon bringing things full circle allows us to perhaps open up to new ways of asking for help, to open up to new possibilities of care. We see the moon in Aries then make a square to Mercury in Cancer at 25 degrees, and this may mean that we start to have conversations about what this looks like. Whether that's with other people, whether that's journaling, we might be improving our self-talk at this time, but there's some capacity now to bring this all kind of full circle in a big way and start to identify language perhaps around what we want to initiate here. And we end this lunation cycle with a sextile between Venus in Cancer and Mars in Taurus. And Venus is ruling Mars right now. And the moon made a square to Venus earlier in this day. And so Venus here is able to relay this message to Mars, which is interesting since Mars is ruling the North Node and the moon and Chiron, but can't see them from Taurus, which is next door. So Venus is able to bring this message home and perhaps allow Mars to continue writing out the kind of pathway that leads us to the North Node in an ongoing way. More bricks for us to follow, if you will. Okay, let's do a quick recap of our lunation cycle thus far, starting with our Gemini new moon, our Virgo first quarter moon, our first of 2 Capricorn full moons, and then we'll pull for this third quarter moon and see what we're getting a sense of releasing at this time. Stay tuned. Okay, here we have our recap of everything we've pulled so far, starting with our Gemini new moon, our Virgo first quarter moon, and last week's doozy of a Capricorn full moon, again, part 1 of 2. If you missed any of these readings, pause here, check out these videos, meet us back here. Let's see how it all ends. Okay, here goes. Let's do this. At this third quarter moon, we are asking about what is coming to a close now, as well as our previous attachment to what is ending now. How we can make meaning from this process as we move through it, and what we can invite in at this time. We have had a lunation cycle full of divesting. It maybe hasn't felt like anything new necessarily really came into those spaces. And what we were seeing start at the Gemini new moon was the Four of Wands. And being such a tender, kind of private, intimate space, makes a lot of sense that if a new cycle is opening there, that we would need to do a bit of divesting from the intricacies that are woven into the Four of Wands. So, very curious to see what this moon hitting the south node, hitting the north node, is going to kind of catalyze for us or draw us closer to, and where that will leave us in this whole divestment. Okay. Knock, knock. It's the star reversed. Okay. And we're preparing for Leo season. I mean, okay, we're like barely into Cancer season, but aren't we always preparing for Leo season? Leo says yes. Okay. And I bring that up because the star is Aquarius. And we will have a doozy of an Aquarius full moon. I won't spoil it for you. It's going to be very dynamic. So right now, maybe we're disconnected from a sense of hope. This is something that opens up for us after we move through the tower, and we've seen the star reversed before in some of our previous cycles. And so the star upright is, I am resilient. I have come through the tower. I have had all falseness stripped away. I have relinquished, I've surrendered to the tower, and I've emerged renewed. I've emerged closer to myself, in touch with the power that burns bright within me, and this power gives me hope. So perhaps as we're moving through this divestment period, perhaps as things are having conversations with Saturn, who's about to be retrograde, right? Let's not underplay that. Like, Saturn stationing retrograde certainly feels like, what the hell am I doing? Like, what am I working toward right now? What are the, like, I would like one sign. I would like one sign that I'm doing something, anything. Could you please just fill me in? Okay. So let's see what else we have here that is maybe connecting with this feeling of, I really got to do some deep diving to find this hope. I really need to maybe go within myself and understand what I'm not feeling great about. This is not a negative, like some cards become much more negative when they are reversed. And the star is one of those beautiful, potent energies that can't really be tarnished by a reversal. It's really about like core essence. So it's really, the question in it reversed is, am I able to tap into that right now, and why not? It's not that it doesn't exist. It's not that we're blocked from it. It's that we are struggling to embrace it. We're struggling to find it. Maybe we're still feeling it being activated within us. What is coming to a close now? Oh, okay. A couple ways I'm going to interpret this. One, the chrysalis journey, the hanged one, is coming to a close. And we are ready to come out. So maybe we've been kind of within ourselves this season. Maybe we've been going through a big transformation, and that is coming to an end. Remembering that this is a major arcana card, and you know what I always say, we're not going to see like the fullness of this meaning in the span of 1 week. It's just what is coming to a close. So maybe what is beginning to wind down. Maybe, and you know I love a second take. Maybe what's coming to a close is our resistance to this process. Have you needed to go into the chrysalis, my friend? Have you been resisting that for some reason? Is this connected to those feelings of divestment we've been part of? And have we been trying to stay out here in these streets, like trying to get something done, trying to push for something to happen, waiting for those results, those external validating results? Are we like waiting for something bigger to happen outside of us before we can take the space to go in there? Okay, so let's see what else is here. My previous attachment to what is ending now. Oh, okay. I just had this conversation with a client about the difference between the chrysalis and the hermit, because I rarely see them show up in the same reading. And there are many similarities. We might look at, Mercury and Jupiter tend to be thought of as the opposites, right? And I certainly think we could extend that to Neptune, right? If we think about Virgo and Pisces, if we think about like, this is Virgo, right? And this is very Neptune, Piscean energy, surrender. So they're both a call to go within, but they are perhaps very different from that point forward. The hermit is a journey within the self for knowledge, for wisdom, to seek the pathway forward from within ourselves rather than looking for it externally. The chrysalis is a complete dissolution of who we are in this moment, how we've been showing up at this time, our perspective on the world, and what we are doing in it. So, funny to see them here together and both reversed. So our attachment to what's ending now is that I'm going to go ahead and lean the resistance route. You know me, I love to lean into the resistance. Okay. If we have been resisting this broader spiritual transformation and a shift of our perspective, then perhaps we've also been resisting the call to go within and seek our inner wisdom. Again, maybe we're very much externalizing everything. Maybe we've been attached to wanting to be out of this. Maybe we're attached to not needing to go in there. I thought I had all the answers. I don't have time to pause. Girl, you and me both. There's no time. And yet nothing is moving. So what do we do there? My previous attachment to what is ending now is that I've been able to hold off going in here. And it's summer. Maybe we aren't, this is the time where we want to be out here. We want to be externalizing. We want to be out in the sun. We want to be hanging out with our friends, being carefree. And maybe this feels a little too internal, introverted, inside. This feels too inner right now. And maybe we're really trying to be out here in the external. Okay, but maybe we need to spend a moment doing this. How can we fully divest? How can we fully welcome in the new if we're not willing to go through this part of the process? How I can make meaning from this process? Oh, okay. Well, here's the Four of Swords saying, girl, get your ass inside right now. Okay. How we can make meaning of this is also, I think, if I don't yield to these bigger processes, then I will find myself in a swords situation. Let's think of this perhaps as preventative care. Some preventative measures we might want to take. It's like, I don't want to be inside. Okay, but what if you're forced in there? What if some drama goes down and you end up forced in here? We saw the Five of Swords last week as a situation culminating now, and that was reversed, which was that we were walking away from the drama. So do you want to be thrown back in there? This is a tough love moment. I'm having a lot of tough love moments in this Cancer season. You can thank the squares to the nodes. Do you want to be forced back in there? Because you're gonna go, this is all on the same level. It's just, it's kind of the way I talk about the 12th house. Either you embrace solitude intentionally, or you will eventually be pushed into isolation. They are two sides of the same coin. How are you going to choose to go through that door? We saw the Two of Swords last week. Okay, let's bring that back. The Two of Swords may make us think, I can avoid this. Oh, if I just hang on and pause and I resist going in there, I don't have to do any of this. Guess what? What we talked about last week was you're going through the portal. Let's just take the other option off the table. Let's not even lie to ourselves. You're going through the portal. What are you going to take in there with you? Which sword will you arm yourself with is the actual choice, not do I have to go in there? And we're seeing that repeated here. Yes, you have to go in here. If you don't go in here, you're going to be pushed in there. All right, let's see what we're ending on here. What we can invite in at this time. Ooh, wow, some big themes. Big themes this week. We can invite in some clarity on what is not fair right now, what is not just right now, what is outstanding, that perhaps we need to go in here to process, okay? I don't know if we can look outside ourselves for this answer. We live in a world that does not care what's fair, especially right now. Fairness is not on the table. Fairness is not for dinner. It's not being served. So don't look for that outside yourself. All of this is saying go inside yourself and decide what's not fair. What is outstanding that needs to be made right? We're going to figure this out as we go through this process. And that helps me understand more about what we're not feeling connected to hope with. Because how can we feel connected to our hope if we feel like there's all these outstanding things that still need to be balanced in some way? The only way we can really do that is by taking this time within to understand within ourselves what needs to transform and what wisdom we already carry inside, so that we can start this Cancer new moon, square to the nodes, with some drive, with some clarity, with tools, with agency. But if we flounder in this and we try to stay out of this space to avoid doing this work, we're going to end up here anyway. And this feels very much like this is the pathway back to the bad place. This is the pathway back to that Five of Swords that we just decided we were walking away from. Let me know how this is landing for y'all in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed, please like this video. Please share with someone who needs to go into the Hermy hole. And subscribe so we can talk about that Cancer new moon next week and get a sense of what choices we're making here moving forward. I'll see you then.